You know what, guys? It's not my fault.
It is your fault.
And by not my fault, I mean it was my fault.
You know what is your fault? That smell.
No, it's not. That's my house.
That is your fault.
But first, I set the GoPros. I turned off the blinks. I turned off the noises because I was going to use them at the Phillies game.
If you're going to use a camera, you should know how it operates.
I did.
Don't leave things on auto. You got to get in there, push the buttons, and learn how to use the camera if you're going to use it professionally.
Kind of like Todd shooting weddings, but
now,
all right.
Hey!
Uncalled for.
That is uncalled for.
I tried my hardest. And by hardest, I mean I left it in auto and got 12,800 ISO. All right, let me introduce it. Is it all right?
Let's start.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk episode number 153. It's the 153rd edition of FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk in some form of another, and we are back from Seattle.
We are back.
We are a day late on recording because we flew in yesterday.
Yep.
We were in Seattle for a DP review event called PIX 2015 that was broadcasted on Amazon. I did a speech out there, which you guys can see over on the website or on YouTube. I called it the saddest photo story I've ever told. So it's listed on Facebook, it's listed on the website, and you can go and check that out. But I woke up this morning and I was like, I opened up my skylight and it was like, oh,
It's sunny.
it's blue.
Oh my gosh.
I can see blue.
I feel good again.
Look, I like Seattle, but I can see how that could get old
I would just
quick.
be so depressed all the time.
Yeah, you got to walk around with your own sunshine in a box.
Yeah, seriously.
Sunshine and teledrops and raindrops and teleshops, and it's some kind of song from the 60s.
When I saw the video of the saddest pictures I've ever talked about, I thought you were talking about my wedding photos again. Like, you son of a bitch.
No, I wasn't talking about you this time, Todd.
You should be.
Not everything's about you, Todd.
You should be.
Not all about you. Hey, what'd you do all week?
Edit
Shot more
the
weddings?
video. Edit the editing guide. What else am I gonna do?
That's true. Steven, did you enjoy your trip?
I did. It was a good trip. I mean, we filmed nonstop every day for like 8 to 9 hours a day. So that was a little rough on the shoulder.
Question.
Because I had a rig, but what's up?
Question.
Question?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Raise your hand, please.
How about
Yes.
your shooting?
Please wait for us to call on you.
was it in focus?
Was it in focus?
All right.
Way better than your wedding exposure. I'll tell you that.
What's worse, though? Out of focus or bad exposure? Out of focus is way worse.
What's worse? Out of focus on one camera? On one actual clip?
He's
or
taking it so seriously, Todd.
bad exposure on every picture?
Hashtag.
Not every picture. I can't agree with that.
Every picture.
I
Anyway,
had at least one picture to Jared.
did you get
Every
any?
picture that you didn't retouch.
Yeah.
Did you get any feedback from people?
A little bit. You know what? At the end of the day, I didn't.
Worst
I
pictures
knew
ever.
what kind of shitstorm I was in for, because I knew I had an issue when I was shooting that day. So if
Yeah.
it was a learning experience or made anybody feel better about themselves because they can,
I saw
shoot
that
better,
comment.
Made
I
every
saw that
single
comment.
photographer
you know
feel
what?
better
God
about
bless
themselves.
them. You know, I
Somebody's
feel
like-
better every time about my videos when I see Steven, so I'm good.
All right. Time for the plug. Speaking of Steven being out of focus, it's Rode this week. As you know, we use the Rode broadcasters each and every week for the show, and they sound fantastic because Steven makes them sound even
you.
better than they already are. Well, that's true, because we know people that have these really good mics, and they don't get the audio portion of it correct.
I spent a lot of time
How do
on
they
the audio.
sound? How do they sound when they use them?
Oh, Jesus.
It sounds way better when
All
Todd
right.
does that.
So we talked about the Video Micro last week. It comes with that shaggy ball, and if you entered the My Road Reel contest and you entered it, you got one of these things for free, which means you better enter it next year because you get some free stuff.
Yeah.
But what they're plugging this week is store.rode.com because they're giving you a code. They've done this once before. The code is FroKnowsPhoto to get 50% off until I believe the 19th of October. Now it's 50% off, not of microphones, it's off of merch.
Swag.
But I will tell you,
Oh.
swag.
Too many swags.
They have the varsity jacket. Do you know what the varsity jacket sells for normally?
$5,000.
$40. So you take 50% off, you get the jacket for $20. Look, if you just need to go shopping because you want to get inexpensive but quality jackets, the varsity jacket is awesome.
What is amazing, the actual quality that goes into these jackets, and they're so inexpensive.
Well, when we got it, we're like, oh my God, this is I would wear this.
Yeah, seriously.
You also look way cooler when you walk on set with like gear, shirts, and
Do you
stuff
get
on.
instant credibility?
You get like super street cred, like, oh, look at him.
Well, nonetheless,
He's got a Road
Sponsored
varsity
by
jacket
Road.
on. They must love him.
but let me tell you something. The hoodies are only $15 when they're 50% off.
Well, don't wear them into the stores in my neighborhood because they won't let you in. No hoodies allowed. No hoods allowed.
Oh, is that true?
Oh, every sign in my neighborhood. No
Oh, really?
hood. Can't wear your hood up.
I mean, I
You
get
can
it.
wear
like-
a hoodie, but just not the hood up.
They can't wear the hood up.
Yeah.
So there's lens cloths which you could end up getting for $1.25.
$1.
There's
$1.25.
there's a bunch of is that Toll Booth Willie?
That's $1.25.
That's Toll Booth Willie, right?
That's Toll Booth Willie. Well, hello,
Toll what?
Pastor.
You don't know.
How much is
I
the
don't know
toll
who that
Toll
is.
Booth Willie? It's $1.25. Good Toll Booth Willie. Here's 6 quarters and go f yourself. Hey, why I oughta. Is
that like an SNL skit or
No, it's
something?
Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler. He had
skit?
comedy albums.
No.
Oh,
It was
okay.
comedy albums that Adam Sandler put out.
Okay.
All right,
Gotcha.
we'll move on from that, but go check out some. You need to watch. Listen to Toll Booth Willie.
$1.25.
Basically, every day he goes back. It's like different cars pulling up and talking. Anyway,
And they all tell him to go F himself.
this has something to do with Road because it has nothing to do with Road.
As usual.
But go to store.road.com. Use the code FroKnowsPhoto to get 50% off of. They've got the rugby shirts. They've got the varsity jackets. They've got the hats. And they got a bunch of other stuff in there. So go ahead and take advantage of that.
Should just be swag.road.com.
Seriously.
That's funny, Todd. So let's move on to the next topic I want to talk about, Todd. Remember when I was on the phone with you yesterday at the airport?
Oh, yeah. I tried to avoid that call, but I was like, damn it, I should probably answer this.
I'm glad you answered it because you can verify what happened. So let me lead up the story. Let me lead up the story. Hold on. Let me do the lead up. Steven doesn't have his TSA pre-check.
No.
I have my pre-check, which got me through in 35 seconds.
And this line at Seattle Airport, by the way, was the longest freaking security line
Really?
ever. Oh,
So-
my God. Move fast, though, but...
I'm through the other side, and they have a big food court on the other end. Good food court, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for a place to sit, and usually it's like one person at a table of 4, and people are afraid to ask if they can sit there. But it's an airport. It's like, I don't care. I want to sit. So I go up to this guy, and I say, hey, is anybody sitting here? He's like, no. So I turn my chair around towards looking at security. The guy's just sitting there playing on his phone. And I'm waiting for Steven. And then a couple minutes later, I decide to call Todd. I'm a minute to 2 minutes into a phone call where I'm not being loud. I am being pretty quiet. And I get a tap on my arm from this yuppie-looking 48-year-old slicked hairback nerd, glasses, looking at me all squinty-eyed, going,
I was there? I didn't think I would.
no, he goes, excuse me, this is a cell phone free zone. And I thought for a second, and I'm
You're
like,
looking for signs.
no, I'm thinking, I'm like, what? I know those things exist, but I was like, I said, really? He goes, yeah, this table is a cell phone free zone. And I let you sit here. I said, whoa. I said, first off, you didn't let me sit here.
you permission.
I asked to sit
And I'm
here.
listening to this on the other line, and I'm like, what is going on?
Right. Well, because I put the phone down a little bit because I'm like, I'm going to defend myself right now because this guy is telling me I'm being rude. I'm like, first off, did you ever think about saying, hey, excuse me, do you mind? And maybe just... he
Politely.
said, wait, what he
There's
said
an
is...
easy way to do
What
it.
he said is, you're interrupting my... I was sitting here quietly... concentrating and focusing on what I'm doing, and you rudely got on your phone, and I let you sit here
In the middle of the food court.
in the middle
Keep
of
in
the
mind.
food court that is
Busy
loud in
food
an
court.
airport.
Yep.
At 11 in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, and so I'm like, did you ever think of just saying, "Excuse me, do you mind walking away while you're on the phone?"
I was online searching for driving shoes, you hippie bastard.
And so I'm just like, and I kept going. Todd's listening, I guess, and I'm like, dude. I didn't say dude. I'm just like, you really
Bro.
need to learn how to interact with people. And he's like, you're just rude. I'm like, so what? I'm like, sir, what's your name? He's like, I shoot raw. I'm like, no, that's my name. What's your name? He's like, Mr. Big. And I'm like, Mr. Big, you, sir, are an asshole. And then I was just like,
I mean, an airport would be the last place that a cell phone free zone would exist.
I said to
first of
them,
all.
I said, imagine if my friend was sitting across from you. Would that be distracting too? Because we're just having a conversation. I simply had a. So what'd you think, Todd?
That's how it went down. No, I just didn't know. I was like, what is going on? I'm like, where are you? Are you on a train car on Amtrak? Because I know they've got cell phone
Right.
free zones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is Jared that much of an asshole? that he'd be like, you know what, I see the sign, but I'm still making a phone call. I'm going to text on the plane when we're in the air. I mean, I don't think Jared's that kind of an asshole. My brother is.
Oh, well.
Because the stewardesses had to tell him to put his phone away during a flight.
Oh, that's bad.
But I was like, but then the more I heard the guy talking, I was like, it was unbelievable that this guy must have just been having a bad day. And then this dude comes up wearing a purple shirt and an afro, and he's like, I can't take this world anymore. He's like, I hate Seattle.
Yeah, but watch your line. Well,
I got to get back to somewhere.
Well, the one thing is also good is you're through security, so he probably doesn't have any weapons. You got to think about that, so it's a good time and a good place to fight.
Yeah, but you had the guns.
Oh, well, I did.
You brought the guns with you.
Yuppie douchebag.
They can't take my guns away from me.
What a douchebag. So then we're on the flight.
Which one do you want?
Which
gun do you want?
One
or two? TSA allows these. See that, guys?
We're on the flight.
Pre-checked and everything.
We're on the flight. Steven's a couple rows behind me. The flight attendants are rolling by with their drinks. And the one flight, I take my ears out, and because I have my in-ears in, and she goes, excuse me. She goes, I have to ask, are you the president of the Ken Rockwell fan club? And I was like, who's asking? Because like it's a secret society or something.
Yeah.
And then the other flight attendant guy was laughing because he must be a reader or a fan. And so she's like, I don't understand what it means. I'm like, well, if he's asking it, he knows what it means. So, yeah.
So what was your response?
I'm like, yep.
That's me.
Yeah, give me a vodka too, asshole.
All right.
Cool story, bro.
Don't talk to me in first class.
I wasn't in first class.
I brought my guns with me.
I was in the exit row.
Of course you were. I need my exit row with my extra leg room. Steven, were you sitting next to him, letting him watch videos on your iPad as well?
No, Steven was a couple rows back because I didn't book the flight. A guy 6'6" was next to me with his knees all the way up to the.
I had the flight going there, so
yeah.
Big dude sitting in the middle,
and then
like,
the last thing about the flight, and then we'll get to photo news, is that we're sitting at the airport before we get on the plane. After the guy after I yelled at the guy, or he yelled at me,
Mr. Big,
and this woman has 2 kids with her. And I'm just, the one kid was trying to hide away like he's a turtle. So I'm like, I'm a turtle. But she was smiling. We get off the plane in Philly. I'm waiting for Steven. And this lady comes up to me, same lady with the 2 kids. And she goes, I just want to tell you, I love your videos. I've learned so much about photography. I've started my own photography thing, which has allowed me to stay home with my kids. So through photography, she's been able to now become a stay-at-home mom and photographer, because she's making money, and she wanted to thank me. She didn't say anything when I was talking to her kids.
For like 20 minutes.
I thought for sure she was going to be like, I'd really appreciate if you wouldn't talk to my kids, you freaking weirdo. I'd appreciate that, because now you've given me nightmares. Now, having said what she said, I can only imagine her being home trying to learn photography with her kids.
Well, I got a card from her because I want to check out her work, and I think that is great. Because we also hear a lot of times is I'm quitting photography because I can't get a job. I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Mother of 2, sometimes you make it happen. Let's get to photo news. That's enough on the airplane stuff. But man, that guy was a DB to the full extreme.
Mr. I shoot raw / Mr. Big.
He was decibels?
My name's Mr. Big.
Someone watches Sex in the City.
I wish you would have taken a picture of him.
I wish I would have taken.
I was telling him.
I really want to see him now.
All right,
although he sounds like you look like me.
All right, wait, no, he doesn't look like you at all. Is there anybody out there?
He looks way better.
Who is a cartoonist or works for the police that could sketch I'll give you the description, and we could sketch the guy, and I will point him out.
I also have a description for a girl that likes to frequent a Mexican fast food chain. I need a picture of her.
Let's get to photo news.
What are we going to do for intro music?
Let's do douchebag sitting in an airport photo news music.
Man.
On 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
Photo news time.
Yay!
First up, Sony has announced that it will be creating an entirely new business out of their image sensor technology. The new sensor business will be called Sony Semiconductor Solutions Corporation. Now, it has been...
it's called what?
SSSC. Triple SC.
And their logo is lightning bolts.
It has been created.
You get it? Too soon?
I get it.
The SS. Why are you talking about my German ancestors, asshole?
It's been created to reinforce its devices segment, which covers its battery and media storage business. Now, Sony aims to reinforce the business and allow it to focus on sustained growth. The new company will be in charge of its own R&D too, also business control, sales, and other operations related to the semiconductor business, where Sony as a whole did it before.
That's cool.
Now, it'll officially commence operations starting April 1st of next year, and no, it's not an April Fool's joke.
No, that's cool because Sony, what a lot of people don't know, but we've mentioned before, is that they make sensors for
Almost
how
everything.
many different cell phones.
Yeah.
So they outsource the stuff. It's kind of funny because it's like the Sony PlayStation 4, which just dropped by $50,
Did it really?
makes the Blu-ray player for the Xbox One. It's just unbelievable.
Didn't Sony make Blu-ray? Like
Yes.
the
Yes.
players?
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
Blu-ray versus HD.
That's what I thought.
HD DVD, and
Yeah.
that failed
Yeah.
miserably. But no, it's good that Sony's splitting off research and development and all that good stuff.
Japan's first female photojournalist named Tsuneko Sasomoto just turned
Good job.
101 years old last month, and she's still taking pictures. She began her career by documenting pre- and post-World War II
Wow.
Japan
Wow.
at the age of 25.
Whoa.
She's currently working on putting together a new collection of photos that span her entire 70-year career as a photojournalist.
Wow.
Now, her last book was published when she was 97, back in 2011. There's also a behind-the-scenes video that I put up on her recent promotion for that book over on the website where you can see her in action.
good?
Just a few years ago. Yeah, it is.
I want to buy it.
Now, there's also a news piece on her just before her 100th birthday where she's quoted saying, "You should never become lazy. It's essential to remain positive about your life and never give up." It's pretty amazing, though. 101 years old, still shooting.
Well, you have to think back to World War II, and you have to think back to the time when
Japan World War
World War II,
Yeah.
the role that women played.
II. Oh, yeah.
Well, the role that women played in that era anyway. So to have that job,
The good old days is what you're saying.
no, Todd. I'm looking for a girl right now that has a job and
You're looking for quite the opposite.
makes money and is an equal, if not better.
Sustainable on her own.
Yeah, because that means a lot.
It's a great life, let me tell you.
A sugar mama.
That-
I need me one of those.
That is true because
Exactly.
Todd lives that life.
I know. he does.
Todd's wife.
I'm about that life. I'm about that life.
Todd's a stay-at-home dad.
Shit.
Half-ass wedding photographer.
Stay-at-home dad. So it's rolling. Here's Todd's day. You ready for Todd's
Here
day?
we go.
He wakes up.
Wake up, look at the
Hold
14
on.
texts that I have from
Yeah,
Jared.
yeah. There
no,
you go.
beyond that. Todd wakes up in the morning, takes his daughter to school. Wife is out at like 4:30 in the morning because she's already run 8 miles, worked out, and she's a lawyer slash
Well, she's a vice principal.
vice principal at a school. So Todd takes his daughter to work, gets home, plays
I
video
take my
games,
daughter not to work. I take her to school.
Pornhub.com.
looks at porn. Oh yeah, he takes his daughter to school.
The porn happens before 8 a.m.
And after.
Every man, you're not a serious businessman if you don't
Start
watch
off your
porn
day.
before 8 a.m.
Todd's alarm clock goes off and it says Pornhub.com.
No, it says 5 missed calls, Jared Polin.
I don't call you at night. I just send you texts.
Yeah.
I sent you one at 12:30
With
last
7
night, I
emails.
think.
I know you did.
Oh, it's
Because I
great.
didn't want to forget.
After we've had several conversations with him
It's
about.
called an email. It's weird how it works.
Well, these new anyway, so that's Todd's life. Let's get back to then he picks up his daughter and then he watches more, then he plays more video games.
no.
the entire day.
Todd playing video games. What game do you love playing?
Destiny.
So he plays whatever
And I
Destiny
had a
is.
bunch of people like friend me on.
Do you want to give your friend thing or no?
You did before. You
I
gave
did.
your name
It's
before.
ITOD, ITOD on PlayStation, and we here's a funny story if you want to get into it. There's another podcast that I listen to, and I like it. It's about The Walking Dead. I won't name drop, but the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on PlayStation. I play Destiny all the time," and I was like, "Oh cool." Befriend him. I've been playing with him for like weeks now.
That's cool.
Because
I
of
was
your
like-
buddies, right?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, we're like BFFs."
That's cool.
But Todd playing a 12-year-old? You suck, old man.
You'd be shocked. You
No,
know
they
what?
probably think Todd's also 12 years old.
No,
with the way
you know
he
what,
talks.
dude? Half the dudes have like kids, and it's mostly like 30, 40-year-old
All right.
guys. To be honest with you,
And the random, like,
I don't even know if kids
8-year-old.
play video games anymore.
That's true. That's true. Microsoft has unveiled its MacBook Pro competitor, is what they're calling it, the Surface Book. Now, the new laptop also doubles as a detachable tablet where the keyboard can be removed. It's not just the keyboard either. It houses an NVIDIA GTX GPU graphics card and other components that basically give the laptop a performance boost when connected, which Microsoft says is twice as fast as the MacBook Pro.
Oh.
What they say.
Well, you know what's nice that Microsoft is finally doing something again.
Their own laptop.
and they
finally.
haven't gotten, you know, for the last 6-7 years they've just haven't found their way.
Well, the Surface Pro has been pretty good.
6 years. I'm going back.
Oh, that
like
farther
where
back.
they haven't found their way. Well, the first Surface Pro failed, and they had to take like a $8 billion write down or something.
Wow.
Which means because they made so many of them and they went unsold. But unlike the Zune, it actually they iterated the next generation. And then the Surface Pro 3 is pretty
I heard
cool.
great things about the 3. My dad
Except
actually
that it
has
runs
the 3.
Windows and
Does
that
he?
it's susceptible to malware and all that shit. But
Their
now,
Xbox division's huge.
Yeah, you're right. Spec-wise, it has a magnesium shell, a 13.5-inch screen with 3000 by 2000 resolution and 267 ppi. Now it sports a 5-megapixel front camera and 8-megapixel rear camera with 1080p video. It has 2 USB 3 ports, an SD card slot, and 12-hour battery life. Users also have the choice of 6th generation i5 or i7 processors and 8 or 16 gigs of RAM for that. Now the new laptop will be available later this month on October 26th and will cost about $1,500 for the base model, going up to $2,700 for the decked out version. So it is about the same price, I would say, as a MacBook Pro, maybe a little cheaper. But they also revealed the Surface Pro 4, which adds some beefy specs to the original Pro 3 model that we just talked about. It's now thinner and lighter at 8.4 millimeters thick with a 12.3-inch screen up from the 3's 12-inch screen, so not much of a bump there. Like the Apple Pencil, there's now a new stylus for it called the Surface Pen that supports 1,024 levels of pressure and attaches magnetically to the outside of the tablet, which is pretty nice. Spec-wise, it can be customized to the most powerful option, which is 16 gigs of RAM, a 6th generation i7 processor, 1 terabyte of SSD storage, and Intel Iris graphics. Like the Surface Book, it also has a 5-megapixel front camera and 8-megapixel rear camera that shoots 1080p video as well.
Does it shoot RAW?
The detachable type cover has also been redesigned. It has better keys, they're saying. It's now thinner and lighter and has a 40% larger trackpad, too. Now, Microsoft says the tablet is 30% faster than its predecessor and 50% faster than the MacBook Air. It'll be available on October 26th as well, like the Surface Book, at a starting price of about $900.
yeah, it's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So the camera giveaway is going on right now. I'm giving away a camera, one of 3. You can choose between a Nikon D810, what was it? Canon 5D SR.
GoPro session? A GoPro session?
No GoPro session. 5D SR or
And
Sony A7R2.
Yep.
And the winner will get to choose one of those 3. Just go over to FroKnowsPhoto.com. You can see at the top of the page the entry page to go ahead and do that. There's no purchase necessary at all. You just enter your email address to be on my email list, and that is your entry for free.
A Russian teenager.
Great segue. Thank you, Steve.
A Russian teenager identified as Audrey R. Fell 9 stories from a rooftop after attempting to do rooftoping photography for his Instagram account. He's been posting these pictures of him rooftoping for quite some time now.
What is rooftoping, though?
Basically, when you're like literally leaning off the edge of a roof, taking these pictures
just,
without
like,
being
trying to look down
tethered or anything.
Kind of like
you're in
almost
the
doing
picture,
like a
or-
selfie
Here, guys.
where you're on the edge of a...
It was basically you punks sitting on the edge of the freaking Grand Canyon on a rock that was shifting.
Exactly.
But
Even more dangerous.
like standing up and leaning forward, or hanging one leg off, or hanging from literally holding onto the edge
With
but
one
hanging
arm.
over,
Yeah.
and then pulling yourself back
It's
up.
crazy. It's really insane.
I saw those. Wasn't it Russian dudes that climbed like that big giant tower,
Crane.
and they were at the very
Yeah.
tippy top
Very,
of some
very similar.
craziness? Like, I had to stop watching it because I was so anxious.
Seriously,
yeah.
yeah.
I could. Oh,
The
God bless
Russians are
them.
crazy.
God bless them.
Now, he was reportedly hanging off the edge of the roof, like we talked about, while attached to a rope. Though he was tethered in this
Yeah, that
picture.
worked.
Now,
Was it tether tools?
well, in order to shoot a photo that made it look like he was falling, now the rope snapped, and he did fall, and he was pronounced dead in the hospital 2 hours later. So he did actually take precautionary
It wasn't
measures.
precautionary measures. From what you just said, it was meant to be that he was supposed to fall, and the rope was supposed to stop his fall.
No. He was supposed to make it look like he was falling.
He was probably like, oh.
but he didn't actually fall.
But he was hanging backwards.
But he was hanging off a rope, and the rope
bullshit.
actually did. Yeah.
That's
That's
bad.
terrible.
Now the last image on his Instagram account has that picture of the rope that he used, and that's obviously going to be the last picture.
Oh, I
of
thought
his
somebody
account.
took a picture of the rope after.
No,
and put it on
not
his
after the
Instagram
fact, but
account.
it was right before he did this
God
shoot.
bless him.
Moral of the
Oh,
story
man.
Shame.
is it explains itself.
It's
It
not. So,
really
you know
does.
what? Some of this shit is not worth the picture. It's not worth it.
No, it's not
your
worth
life.
it.
Of
Nope.
course, yeah. Now there's another image format available called FLIF.
MILF?
FLIF. It stands for Free Lossless Image Format. Not the other one that you're talking about.
Flif.
FLIF.
.com?
Just FLIF.
I think I've frequented that. I think they take a. I think there's like a premium pass for
Premium
for
subscription,
Flif.
$9.99 a
Yeah.
month or something like that.
Yeah.
The big pitch for this new format is that it works well with any type of image, whether it's text-based, graphic-based, or a typical photo. Now, the FLIF website states that you are supposed to know that PNG works well for line art, but not for photographers, for regular photographs where some quality loss is acceptable. Now, JPEG can be used. But for medical images, you may want to use lossless JPEG 2000, and so on. It can be tricky for non-technical end users. FLIF does away with knowing what image format performs the best at any given task. FLIF beats anything else in all categories, is what they're saying. Now, its lossless compression has been compared to other popular formats, and it was 35% smaller than PNG files, 37% smaller than lossless JPEG 2000, 15% smaller than lossless WebPG, which is Google's new format, and 22% smaller than lossless BPEG. Now, the new format features grayscale and RGB and RGBA color spaces, 16-bit color depth, interlaced and non-interlaced support, and support for animation. Now, FLIF is progressive too, so you only need to download the first part of the file for a reasonable preview of an image. Downloading the rest adds more and more quality to the image, so if you're on mobile, you'll still be able to download the image pretty fast compared to the other formats. Now, one drawback is that it's not the fastest codec. The site says encoding and decoding speeds are not blazingly fast, but they are in the right ballpark. Now, FLIF is free under the GNU General Public License. However, co-developer John Snyers says it's still a work in progress. They say the format is not finalized yet. Any small or large change in the algorithm will most likely mean that FLIF files encoded with an older version will no longer be correctly decoded by a new version. Keep this in mind. Now, it still doesn't have
Flip off.
It doesn't have metadata support, lossy compression, or web browser support as of this moment.
All right,
but
next
it's on their
story.
to-do list, so I wouldn't obviously recommend using it just yet. But it's out there, and who knows if this could be the next big thing when it comes to file formats.
Flif.
FLIF, F-L-I-F, in all caps.
Fathers like I.
DJI has announced the Osmo. It's a new handheld 4K camera. Now, I think we tested this out. The prototype was at NAB that we saw this?
Yeah, a long while back.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and it
I
was pretty
remember
much
that.
the same thing, but not fully done yet. And you just
Looks
got
like
this
the thing
recently.
on the bottom of the helicopters, the gyroscopes on the helicopters.
Exactly. It's the payload from the Inspire 1. Now, the new system is basically, like I just said, the Inspire 1's original payload, the X3 camera on a stabilized gimbal. It has a 3-axis brushless gimbal, shoots 4K video up to 30 frames per second, or, get this, 1080p at 120 frames per second.
Oh, wow.
It takes 12
I whip
megapixel
my hair
stills.
back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair. Whip it back and forth, my hair.
And now it takes 12 megapixel stills as well, and the standard camera has a 0.5-inch Sony Exmor
Shake
R
it fast.
sensor
Watch yourself.
with an ISO
Shake it
range
fast.
of 100
Show me
to
what you're working
1600, or for video 100 to 3200. It has a 20mm lens with a 94-degree field of view and DNG support and JPEG support as well.
Listen to the fan.
Oh wow, that's loud. It'll also
Let me hear it.
sounds like a standard computer like laptop fan, I would say.
That's really loud.
Keep going.
Now, the ARM has a stereo mic, 3.5mm audio jack, so obviously
It has
won't
an audio
pick up
jack, but there's
that.
no place to attach the microphone. So what am I going to hold it with my hand?
I don't know. Rig it somehow. Gaff tape. It has a smartphone holder for your phone and supports 60 minutes of battery life. It has several different modes, like the automatic panorama mode, which will make the camera automatically turn in a circle while staying level. They say you can also take long exposure photos and time-lapse sequences while hand-holding it. No tripod needed. Regarding the interface, you can attach
Time lapse while hand holding
while
it.
hand-holding it.
It is unbelievably stable. It's the same payload that goes on the bottom of the Inspire 1
Yes.
goes onto this.
Yes. Now, again, you can attach a smartphone and pair it with the camera for a monitor. You can also control the camera with a touchscreen interface straight from the DJI app.
Yes.
Or you can simply use the external controls on the ARM,
Right here.
which are pretty nice. It'll be available later this month for $649, and you can watch DJI's promo video with sample video footage over on the website.
Problem I see is that I'm left-handed, and the phone support is only on the right hand. On the right, you put the phone on the left side so you can hold it with your right hand. But I'm left hand dominant, and I want the phone over here. That's just me. The world is not a lefty world.
Now, how do you attach the blades? Because I don't want to mess that up again.
Now, one other thing, you can also change out the payload if you don't want that specific camera, the X3. You can upgrade to their new ZenMuse X5 or the X5R lossless one and record raw footage.
Wow.
And you can change it to the X5 with the Micro Four Thirds sensor, and you can obviously change out the lenses because it has lens mount.
It's super stable.
That's pretty nice.
It's beyond stable, but
it is really stable.
I think it's pro use only at $650.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the one thing is, it would be nice to get some pro-type footage when you're in like a small area or something. Like in the video, for example, they showed it going underneath like a rink or something in a boxing ring. They showed it going through like the ropes and following the boxer as he goes into the ring, which was pretty cool. Like a normal setup, you really wouldn't be able to follow him like that.
Well, it's like it's a Steadicam in essence, but with the ZenMuse 5, it would be pretty cool on there.
Now, they didn't announce data rates or anything like that for the 4K footage. I think the X3 camera for the Inspire was at like 50 megabits a second or something, so it wasn't a huge data rate. But obviously, if you upgrade to the X5
I mean, look, the drones give you the opportunity to get shots like you couldn't get without a helicopter.
Yeah.
That's going to allow you to get shots that you probably couldn't get unless you had some expensive Steadicam rig. So it's a tool if you need it.
Do you want to take it home and play with it?
Of course I do.
Because what happens is we need to update the firmware for it, and then you can play with it, and then we can come back and review
I can break it and replace something.
All right, next story.
You can now browse through every image taken on the Apollo moon missions.
Awesome.
The Project Apollo Archive has uploaded over 8,400 scans. They're now over on Flickr, which they were shot by the astronauts with their chest-mounted Hasselblad cameras.
Did you see their GoPros?
The chest-mounted Hasselblad cameras, back in the day, the GoPro back in the day. Now, the images are unprocessed, high-res scans from the original NASA images, so very high quality. They even included like blurry outtakes and pictures that probably shouldn't have been in there, but they put them in there.
There's nothing really wrong. I mean, if you capture the moment and it's a little out of focus, I give it a pass.
Well, these photos are great.
Yeah.
To
really
see
cool
space
stuff.
photos, to see what they're capturing. Did anybody see The Martian other than me?
Not yet.
I didn't
want
see
to
it yet. Yeah, I definitely want to see it too.
I read the book. Can you turn off the music? I thought that was. It was just. I was like, what's this? X-Files?
It was Space Trek via audio blocks.
Oh. Ooh. So I read the book, and the book goes into a lot more detail. They gloss over certain things in the movie. It stays very true to the book. Very, very true to the book. They just cut out certain things. So it's already 2 hours and 20 minutes.
The super scientific stuff they cut out, right?
No, they didn't cut out the super.
No,
I thought they did.
No, they
That's
cut
what I heard.
out. They cut out literally his entire trek from one scene, one area to the next area.
Okay.
They gloss, and in the book, I feel really good. I felt special at the movie because I read the book. So it made me feel like I knew something, and I don't know. I've never done that before.
Were you
I've read
satisfied, though, having read the book?
Compared to
Yeah,
the
it was
book.
a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really enjoyable movie.
Was the book better than the movie?
The book goes into more details. It expands it. It's funny.
Gotcha.
Like the book, and it's a quick read. It's an easy read. You can buy it on like
if you can read it, anyone can read
$3.99.
it.
Well, exactly. I blew through it. I enjoyed it. The movie stayed very true. They just skipped over some things, and I think you don't get certain jokes or certain visuals that you see in the movie unless you read the book. So I'll leave it at that. But they did a really good job. They did a really good job with it. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Next up, we've got a new camera startup called Light. Introduced a new type of point-and-shoot camera called the Light L16, which they say packs DSLR quality into a small form factor. They say, in quotes, the L16 is the first multi-aperture computational camera that packs DSLR quality and capability into a device that fits in your pocket. The L16 is smaller, lighter, less expensive, and provides better image quality than any camera in its price class.
They need to stop
Comparing
with
it
this
to
comparisons
DSLR
to
quality?
DSLR quality. Screw that. Because I sit there and I'm like, you guys need to stop. It's not a DSLR any which way you slice it.
Now, it's not shaped like a DSLR at all. It's shaped more like a smartphone. It features 16 separate camera modules that take the same picture at different focal lengths, then combining them into a high-resolution 52-megapixel image. On top of the multiple camera modules, it also acts like a Lytro, where it will let you adjust the depth of field after you shoot the image. Now, the 16-camera cram cameras cram into such a small package by using folded optics, that's what they're calling it, where they basically use mirrors where the lenses are on their side with light striking the mirror, which goes to the lens, then hits the sensor, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
More specs include a 35 to 150 millimeter optical zoom range for it, where it has 5 35 millimeter prime lenses, 5 70 millimeter prime lenses, and 6 150 millimeter prime lenses. Now, 10 of the 16 will always fire depending on zoom range. It has an f1.0 aperture that can be adjusted later, like I said, a 5-inch touchscreen interface where you basically pinch to zoom like a smartphone if you're framing your image. It shoots 4K video and has an Android-based OS for social media sharing. Now, the camera will be available next year in September of 2016 for about $1,700, but if you pre-order it now, it's going for $1,300. And you can watch the full promo video. It's over on the website, along with a walkthrough of the camera by the CEO himself.
Oh, well, the promo video sucks. I got 8 million messages saying, hey, did you see this?
Me
Hey,
too.
did you see this?
Me
Hey,
too,
did you
yeah.
see? Yeah, I saw it. What do you think about it? Well, we know what happened to Lytro. I'm not going to say that that's what will happen here. Innovation is great. We haven't seen much innovation in the way of photography in a long time, well, other than the mirrorless cameras, because mirrorless cameras have really pushed the envelope. Something like this, in theory, it sounds interesting.
Yep.
I just hate the form factors. I want to hold a camera. Make it like a camera. There's a reason that the camera has lived the way it lived, and the mirrorless camera started to change that. And now they've started to come back to being more like a DSLR because you need a grip. It needs to feel good. I love the touch thing to make the zoom on the back. It's
Yeah, because you can also not just use the screen. It has a little trackpad on the back.
I don't want to
as
use
well,
a screen to
so
do
you
anything.
can just use your thumb, which is pretty nice.
Honestly, if it was shaped like the second Lytro, it would feel better.
That was more like a camera, yeah.
Right, because it feels like a camera. Now, cool, 52 megapixel, however they make it.
And they say it's also a lot less noise than a typical image because
it's
of
multiple
their
images.
algorithm. And, yeah.
Right, that stuff's cool. It's well and good. I'd like to play with one, of course, to see how it is, but it's $16.99. You're not replacing it. But the one thing that I did read that I think they did smartly that Lytro never did is that they made a deal with Foxconn. Is it Foxconn?
For the actual manufacturing of the camera?
For the manufacturing, and
That's Apple's place, isn't it?
that's who makes the app. And also, they signed a licensing agreement for them to start to shrink it down to include it in certain cell phones. So they're giving the ability. They've raised, I think it was like $43 million in funding or something.
Wow.
But this licensing, this agreement means that they can take this company can take the technology and offer it maybe one day in an iPhone or offer it in an Android device or whoever wants it. Now, the company doesn't get a say in who uses it.
Yeah.
But they've gone this way to hopefully out Lytro, and Lytro is a piece of crap. And Lytro is not in the consumer market, and Lytro has failed to do that.
I wonder if they're going for more the entry-level consumers, too, with the smartphone-type layout because of, the average user that hasn't used a DSLR is more used to holding up their phone versus a camera.
They are. My problem...
But it's not priced at that market, though.
No, but my problem... But it's the first go.
Yeah.
And when they shrink it and put it into a phone, that makes more sense. One device, not two, shaped like a phone. Where are they going to go? 2 pockets? What is that? A new band, new guy, new rapper named Two Pockets? Is that a 2 Chainz or Tupac?
Yeah.
What up, Tupac? Hey, 2 Pockets.
Yeah. What's up?
Yo, what's in your left pocket?
Oh, I got my phone. I got that gold iPhone 6-7.
You got it in rose gold, didn't you?
Rose
6-7.
every day.
What's in your right pocket?
It's my Viagra.
No,
my third pocket, I got this little camera. It's my light thing.
And that's 2 Pockets. Thank you for talking to us, 2 Pockets.
I thought it was
Welcome.
interesting, though, their design, how they had the mirrors coming in and the lenses on their side.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how well that works, but they're saying that that's why they
You're
got
gonna have
such
loss
small
of quality
form factor.
anytime you go from a mirror to an optic.
Of course.
Because
But what about when you have 16 cameras, 10 of them firing off at once?
But still, you're going from a mirror. The mirror has to then reflect the light
yeah.
onto a thing, and that's not the same as what a DSLR does. The mirror, yes, you see it, and then it flips out of the way, and then you get the image. All right, what's next?
Next up, we have not exactly photo news, but still pretty funny. I wanted to bring it up. There's footage from a recent Arizona Diamondbacks baseball game where the announcers are commentating this group of girls. They're just taking ridiculous selfies like the entire time.
Here, this is a churro.
That's what they're doing, pretty much. The cameraman spotted the sorority girls.
Oh my god!
And they all were taking selfies over and over again with different poses, different faces, duck faces, with the commentators basically making fun of them the whole time, saying things like, "Do you have to make faces when you take selfies? What's the best one of the 300 pictures of myself today? Welcome to parenting in 2015. Take a selfie with the hot dog, selfie with the churro, etc."
But don't watch the game.
Exactly. That's pretty much what they're saying. Now, literally every one of the 10 girls was on their phone. Every time they would pan back to that cameras, every single one was either taking a picture or on their phone.
Could you imagine
not socializing at all?
Could you imagine
Or watching
sleeping
the
with a sorority girl and all she's doing the whole time is
I imagine it all the time.
like texting, selfie. Here, hold on. I got to get this picture.
Take a picture of this.
Like, will you shut up?
But it is funny, though. Really.
It is.
I actually saw that video.
It's sad,
And it's
but it's funny.
amazing. Amazing.
You saw it?
Yeah, I think it's amazing just how detached they all are from it.
And it's for the one girl was taking selfies for like literally 2 minutes straight, nonstop, not even looking at the other girls
It's
or let
horrible.
alone the game.
But then there's that photo that has gone quasi-viral around the internet where
The woman.
it's a photo of an older woman and she's surrounded by 20 other people who all have their cell phones out, and she's the only one in the picture that doesn't and is just sitting there smiling,
enjoying the moment.
whatever she was seeing.
Yeah.
But everybody else has a cell phone out.
Drone news. Governor Jerry Brown, he signed off on a new bill that puts new restrictions on drones flying over private property in California. Now, the new bill, AB 856, changes the definition of a physical invasion of privacy to now include sending a drone into the airspace above someone's land in order to make
high?
a recording or take a photo. They didn't get into that, actually.
How high?
This will expand
As high as I
privacy.
can get the sky.
It's mainly, obviously, for the paparazzi in California to prevent them from going over celebrities' homes, stuff like that.
That's
the
all
governor,
it is. That's all it is.
It really is.
It's Hollywood.
Which is why
It's
California's
Hollywood
probably gonna be the
flexing
only
its muscle
state
saying,
like
I don't
that."
want drones over my estate. Will Smith, thanks for f***ing up the drones.
Now, the governor has rejected several drone regulation proposals in the past, too, including restrictions on flying over wildfires, prisons, and schools, citing a belief that such restrictions have little benefit while having the consequence of creating new crimes. So this is really the only one he actually passed. So hobbyists and commercial drone pilots in California might have an issue creating like that establishing shot from now on if they're not in a public environment or over
It's
public
called a
land.
permit.
It's called
permit.
permission.
I mean,
Yeah, but I'm
that's
saying
all.
for the hobbyists.
Yeah.
More.
Well,
than the
they're
commercial
hobbyists.
drones.
Again,
More of a pain in the ass, I should say.
so what are the repercussions? Do you have to shoot it out of the sky? Do you have the right to shoot it out of the sky?
They didn't say.
Because now it's invading your privacy. Can you shoot it down because it's in your airspace? It's like you fly into Russian airspace by accident and they blow you out of the sky. So theoretically, Mr. Meredith over here in his backyard.
He should move to California.
Mr. Meredith,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do if a drone invades your airspace?
Well, you know, I'm a celebrity down here, and I need my privacy. I need my privacy down here because my daughter's super sexy. She be out here in the pool, being all hot-bodied. She should be on Maxim,
Taking selfies.
taking selfies, especially when we go to the baseball game. So if I see one of them drones, I'm moving to California with all them weirdos. I'm gonna go out there and see what I can get.
Oh, my God. The FAA has proposed the largest fine ever for flying drones. Speaking of drones, they proposed a $1.9 million fine against a company called Skypan International that offers aerial photography and video. According to the FAA, the company conducted 65 unauthorized commercial UAS flights over various locations in both New York City and Chicago between 2012 and 2014. The flights involved aerial photography. Of those, 43 flew in the highly restricted New York Class B airspace.
They should be arrested, not fined.
Now,
and
they-
they should be no longer able to do business at that point. If you break the rules so many times, a fine is one thing, but
Exactly.
shutting you down fully and throwing your ass in jail is another story.
I mean, that fine might shut them down
Yeah, exactly.
when you hear it.
Now they add that these operations were illegal and not without risk. Skypan operated the aircraft in a careless or reckless manner as well, so as to endanger lives or property. Now the large fine is due to the countless times the FAA warned the company about its illegal flying operations.
and they
too.
warned them.
Yeah, apparently multiple times.
Crazy.
So this isn't the first time they're hearing from the FAA. Now,
Again,
ironically,
permits, people.
Ironically, the company states the fact that it's one of around 1,700 companies that has received an FAA Section 333 exemption that apparently allows it to operate drones commercially on their website. There's a big stamp
Yeah,
right
but
on
that
the front.
doesn't mean that you can fly it in restricted
I know.
areas.
Now, Skypan's president, Mark Siegel, says the
Jew.
fine is ridiculous and unfair. The company now has 30 days to respond to the FAA's proposed
He did. He said
fine.
it's ridiculous and unfair. That's his response.
Yeah, that's true.
I am. What's his name?
Mark Siegel.
This is Mark Stigl. I sat next to that guy at the airport. He called himself Mr. Big.
Oh, Mark. There's a new photo series by photographer Fabrice Montero called The Prophecy that focuses on the pollution and trash problem in Africa. The series features high fashion photos that include a model and garment made completely from trash and surrounding debris. Now, Montero partnered with costume designer Dulcie and the Eco-Fun organization for the project, where he visited 10 different polluted areas in the African country Senegal. It features images shot on the shore where the model is doused in like oil-like makeup, holding a dead bird to showcase the polluted waters. There's one
hot.
where she's dressed. She has a dress made completely of garbage on a landfill.
Oh, make me over. I'm all I wanna be. A walking study in demiology. Oh, we nearly made it. Whatever to take it. Oh, make me over.
You done?
That's garbage, or is that whole?
I think that is garbage.
Whole
I
garbage
think.
is what it is.
Now, there's also one where she has a gas mask on in the dusty construction areas. There's one where she's tangled in plastic fishing nets with basically crap all around her and dead fish. Now, the photographer says it is not only
First
a political...
off, hold on. Sam Green, who's over there on the left-hand side filling in for Joe this week, I asked him for a photo of Mark Siegel, and he gave me Tony Soprano.
What?
Wait.
Does that not look like Tony Soprano?
That looks just like... what's his name? Who played Tony Soprano?
He's dead.
He died, but what's his name?
James Gandolfini.
James
That's it,
Gandolfini.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sam.
That does look
Well,
cool.
I think I have a phone call from the photographer.
From this guy.
No, from the photographer at the Africa shoot. Hello,
Fabrice.
caller, are you there?
Fabrice.
Yes. No, I understand you're trying to make a statement. I understand. Yes, you're going to get paid for these. Yes, and I understand trash is a horrible thing, but no, I don't want to wear a jockstrap made from six-pack plastic.
Is that
Goodbye.
Marutu?
Yes.
Naruto.
Is Maruto back?
He's blowing up like I thought I would.
Oh, so Maruto's the photographer
Yes.
in the African
It's
event?
amazing.
Oh, my God.
Nailed it.
Now, the real photographer says, in quotes, it is not only a political or economic problem, but an educational one, and that out-of-control consumption of plastics is augmented by a lack of ecological consciousness in the selling of everyday products. He's also featuring the images at an exhibition right now at the Louisiana Museum of Modern Art, now until October 25th. Really powerful stuff, though.
It sounds
extremely
interesting.
creative.
That does
And
sound
good for Urutu.
I mean, the simple purpose of hope.
Well, it
for
also
Africa.
it also sounds like the premise of the movie The Kingsman that I watched.
Does it?
Yes.
That sounds nothing like that.
I know.
Well, no, the guy wants to remember. It's all about. We'll make this quick.
Oh,
It-
right.
It's all about pollution.
That's how forgettable that movie was for me.
I thought it was enjoyable
see
on the
it yet.
airplane. Is that the end of
That
it?
is it for photo news.
All right, I want to do some more Marutu music from a photo shoot.
Another one.
Well, I don't get to hear him each week because I
should-
don't
you should
listen
look-
to the
yeah.
I
show.
know. I mean, we're
Go
lucky
ahead,
that
thanks.
he listens live and calls in. I mean, I think we're really fortunate.
He might
to
be the
have-
only listener that's listening live.
That's what I'm saying. to have
We have a direct
such a
feed
high
to just him.
profile to have such a high profile photographer call into our show is huge.
Oh.
It's huge.
All right, let's get some Marutu music shooting in Africa right now. I'm sensing bongos. And we're out. So what time is it? Flying solo, then
Flying
gear of the
solo
week?
time, then gear of the week, then Wheel of FRO, which we have to spin twice.
Twice. All right, flying solo. The question, I made this when we were in Africa.
Oh, that time we were in Africa, yes.
I made the video when we were at the airport in Seattle, and I asked for questions, and there were 200 questions came in.
All right.
that normal?
Can I go to the bathroom before we get to 200?
Old man.
Timothy Mason. Hi, Fro, Steven, and Becky. How do you best deal with mixed lighting sources in your photos or videos? For
worst.
example, being indoors with tungsten or fluorescent lights and daylight from windows.
I can answer that from my experience. I go black and white.
Oh, you mean for photos?
For photos. That's what I do. I just go black and white in a mixed lighting situation.
All right, so we know that in mixed lighting, when Steven's doing video at events, we try to match the lighting with either
If you have tungsten light,
That's
you
tough.
shoot
That's
with
tough, though.
tungsten filter
Yeah.
or whatever.
When it comes to stills, it's one of those things that you either balance it with a strobe or a flash. You're going to balance the lighting situation, which you can do, or I just shoot the freaking picture and deal with it later. Because I don't worry about it. But if it's a portrait, obviously you have to worry about it. But it is what it is. You can't match outdoor sunlight and indoor and do all unless you're popping strobes and you could put some crap over the window to change the light, right? Jaffe would know all that.
Yeah,
Moving on.
Yeah.
Shane Lewis. Hey guys, I'm going to be going on a week-long trip to Mexico with a church group, and I will be responsible for taking photos and video for a 30-minute documentary and promotional video. What would you take as a one-man photo/video crew? Now, first off, a 30-minute documentary in a week,
And it's only him.
and it's only you.
I mean, you could definitely do it in a week.
You
I would
could
say.
do it, yeah.
Oh,
You could do it. It's going to be a ton of work, but I think where most people don't understand documentaries, where the work comes, it's all in editing.
Yes.
How you edit
Yes.
it.
Tell
For
a story.
30 minutes, he's probably going to shoot 10, 20 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when it comes to doing your job, I mean, if you have to do stills and video, it becomes more difficult. That just flat out becomes more difficult.
He's asking for what gear to bring?
If I had to take gear, I'd take the new Sony. Now, I don't know if I would take the new Sony, but I'd stick with the 5D Mark III and a bunch of lenses. You can get stills and photos. If you can take a Sony, then the Sony could be a good option, but
I would totally take the XC10 with that run and gun type style stuff.
you can't do stills with it.
You can do stills with the XC10.
Yeah, that look like garbage.
Yeah, but he's putting them into a
Depends
documentary.
what he's looking for. If he's
Yep.
putting him in a documentary,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're just stills. If he's looking for real deal stills, I'm not going to go shoot a job with the XC10 and use the stills from
I
it.
think he's going to be relying more on video though for
but
the
he's going to need a
documentary.
mic. He definitely need audio. I would bring multiple audio. Maybe one or two lavs or microphones.
I think at that point, if
And
it's
a light
if
LED.
it's a one-man band, I would go for the
and something
shotgun,
like this. These guys here are
F&V
lifesavers.
Z180
these
light.
FMVs. Yep.
which has both the tungsten and daylight filters.
Yep.
I would go shotgun mic or possibly get a Zoom with an XY mic for the stereo sound.
Yeah.
like
Yep.
a Rode Video Mic Pro.
Laptop with backup solutions. Maybe somewhat of a stabilizer, whether it's a gimbal or a shoulder rig or whatever.
And a tripod then.
Tripod
Right.
for sure,
For your,
or at least
if
a
you're doing
monopod.
dedicated like interviews to talk to somebody
Yep.
here and there, I definitely want a tripod.
This was an interesting question. How soon until we replace Steven Eckert?
Who is that from?
Todd Wolf.
I didn't know if either of you saw it.
I don't
well,
ever check the
Todd,
questions.
it was the second to last question of the 200 by the time I got
so
to the
you
bottom
really
of it.
did look at them all. Did you get a good kick out of that?
I thought it was funny
it
and
was
I
more
used
so
it.
for you and Steven than
I know.
anybody else.
I wish I would have saw it.
But I
That-
tagged your name and I was
Yeah,
like,
but I was in Seattle.
Steven's going to say something.
I don't really check my
I was
social
giggling
media.
with anticipation about waiting for your response, and it never came.
Because he was on an airplane as soon as that happened.
Question is, when do we get someone to replace Todd that actually can do photography? That's the question.
Brian Hogan.
That's a tough one.
Hey, Fro, Todd, Steven.
There we go. That's the right order.
Been
Terrible
listening to
order.
the podcast since day one. Loved it then, and it's done nothing but get better. So thanks. My question is a bit off topic. I know you have talked about earplugs before, and I just wanted to know which ones you use. I'm an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force, and recently I've run out of earplugs. First off, how the hell does the Air Force run out of earplugs?
Budget cuts.
It's a government
Sequestration.
organization.
Sequestration, earplugs were the first thing to go.
Run out of earplugs, and for whatever reason, I don't know, we can't seem to get any. We usually
That's
have
ridiculous.
boxes of the foamies. I decided I would just rather get my own pair. The foamies are so bad, especially for you guys around this loud noise. They've talked about how the foam earplugs are horrible for your ears because the sound gets in and reverberates and just bounces back and forth. I have their ultimate ears. Their ultimate ears earplugs.
It's a very expensive solution.
It's $175 by the time you're done, basically. You
Well,
get
they last you a lifetime.
But, well, as long as you don't lose them.
Well,
they.
besides that, I'm just saying.
Or if your ears do grow, though. Isn't your ears and nose are the
Well,
one-
every 6 months, your ears, yes, they're continually
Shut up.
growing.
Yeah, your ears and nose never stop growing.
Why do you think old people's
This
noses
damn
are so
nose
big?
of mine is going to continue to grow? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So basically, the ones that I use are called Ultimate Ears. I meant to bring them over here, but I didn't. They're molded. I've got the highest decibel one that you could use. I think it cuts down on 25 or 30, and it brings it down. And I actually think when I wear them at concerts, I hear the music better because I don't.
It muffles out, everything else pretty much.
Right, and it sounds fantastic. So I would get something like that. They have a lanyard ear rubbery thing, so if they won't
tethered,
fall off.
yeah.
So I would get something like that. You are going to spend close to $200. I'm sure on base they may have an audiologist that you could get your ear mold done. Ow. My
Time to trim
mustache
the beard.
got stuck in the metal again, and it pulled it out. God, I hate when that happens.
At least you didn't get shocked.
I know.
That wouldn't be fun.
So
That seems like a good investment if that's
Yes.
your day-to-day life, though. If they last forever, as long as you don't lose them, I think it's not a bad
well, they'll last a
investment.
long time.
Yeah.
Now I use more of an inexpensive option. They're called earpiece, and they're just like $15 earplugs, but they're pretty solid. They're not molded to my ear, but they're rated for 30 decibels. I've had them for 5 years now, and they've never given me an issue.
So another one that
Knock
I've
on wood.
used that are a lot less expensive are Etymotic Research.
Which is pretty much the same thing as earpiece.
Right, they're the 3 steps of things.
Yep.
Those are great. I use those because they have 3 stages and they're better than the foam ones.
Exactly.
But then when you get them molded to your ears, they're to your ears. They fit perfect.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be better.
All right, Matthias Appel. Appel. It's not Apple, is it? How do you spell Apple?
Appel.
LE.
LE, right? Hi, Jared. So far, I've seen photography only as a hobby, but recently my photos have been used for a couple of articles and conservation networks for endangered species. This is from Marutu. Mainly red pandas and lemurs. Regularly use my shots for social media awareness. Knowing that and having critiqued my photos during your 30 for 30 series last month, the one with the animal portraits, do you think I am in a position into which I could turn photography into my full-time job? Thanks a lot. Well, what's wrong with what you're doing? I know that the nature photos are great, but what I've always said is you don't turn something, you can't make it a full-time job until it starts taking away from your full-time job. If that makes sense.
It's not a full-time job until it's a full-time job.
It's not a full-time job until you can't do your full-time job because photography has made you so much money or is making you the same money, if not more, than the other thing. Keep doing what you're doing. Use it as a supplementary income to make even more money.
Yep.
And just use your days off when you have them from the other jobs to make it work, or take your time off. And then when the job becomes, your photography takes over and you're sustained and you have enough in the bank, you go from there. Yes. Dylan Mason Connor. A TSA agent threw my camera gear on the conveyor belt, cracking one of my lenses.
Oh.
What do I do about getting them to pay for it to be fixed since it was their fault?
You had to
Or am
really
I
throw it on
directly responsible? Now, this is a bunch of malarkey. So take the first part of the question first.
Mm-hmm.
Who is responsible for it? I honestly don't know if the TSA is responsible for this, but what I would have done is I would have, if they did this, gone to the head of security who's in charge and said, they just threw this on the conveyor belt and they broke it.
Now, did he not know until he reached his destination? I assume.
Well, that I don't know. If you got to your destination, you're screwed.
Then you
but
open
if
it up and you're like, oh,
if it
crap.
happened when you're there, the guy threw it on there and you opened it up, you see the crack. I go to the security and I just go nuts nicely on the manager, the head of the TSA that's at that time. I'm like, look, your TSA agent threw this on the conveyor belt, knowing very well that it's a camera gear, and now they broke it. You're going to pay for it. But then you have to deal with, you have to figure out how to deal with it because you're trying to catch a flight. This is how I deal with the TSA when I'm there. Now that I have pre-check, it's been a hell of a lot better because I don't have to take anything out unless they ask for it. But when it comes to gear and the TSA agents, you see what I do when I get patted down, right?
Yeah.
I zip up my bag, put the shoulder strap on to make sure it's not open. I have all the other bags, they're all situated. And you're not allowed to touch them when they come off the conveyor belt when they want to search them. And I say, the first thing I say is, guys, this is camera gear. very expensive camera equipment. If you have a question or you want to take something out or look at something, please ask me before you do it. Because I'm sure there's been times where they look at the mirror and start to maybe try to flip it up with their finger and take that stuff out. Sometimes you get guys that are photographers or women that are photographers that get it.
Handle it with care.
And they handle it with care. But I make it a point forcefully to tell them that this is camera gear. It's very expensive. If you want to do something, ask me first. And I direct them through the entire process. That's the lens. Please be careful when you take it out. That's the camera body. Please be careful. All of these different things. I know I can't touch it, but I just tell them.
Now, my question is, I can't tell if this was him checking his bags or going just through security and bringing
throw it on the conveyor belt.
Yeah, but they also throw it in the conveyor belt if you're checking it.
That's not TSA down there.
Oh, that's not TSA.
Well,
you're right.
it goes through a separate TSA thing after you give it, but he saw them.
So
he
they
was
checked
through
his gear because it came up when they put it through the little machine.
something.
And
They threw it on the conveyor belt.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, at the same time, a lot of that stuff I carry on.
This was carry
that's
on.
what I'm
This
talking
was
about.
carry on.
This was carry on. So
didn't
through
really-
that, don't you lay it on the conveyor
That's what I'm
belt?
saying.
Well, that's yes, but
I'm
maybe sometimes if they see something in it,
They'll
you're
check
not
it.
allowed to touch it to make
Yeah.
them put it back through again.
Gotcha.
So then they go around, they take it, and they place it back.
Check
it sounds
it,
like
then throw it back on the
Oh,
They put it
yeah,
back
that's
through.
some bullshit.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I will say we brought all our think tank gear through Seattle, and they didn't even check it. But
Right.
the first time in Philly, they actually took it off the
And
belt.
do you know what I
and
actually
checked
thought of?
What?
I should be taking the roller bags through the pre-check if you don't have pre-check.
So you just roll in? They don't even check that?
it goes through this. It goes through the
It's
security.
same thing? You still go through that? Okay.
Well,
gotcha.
it still goes through the conveyor belt, but if they don't see anything, they won't search it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to take off my belt, my jacket, my jock strap.
It probably is
anything.
better, yeah.
But you need to go do it. It's $80. I told you I'd pay for it.
Yeah, I will.
And it takes no time. It takes like 3 weeks once it's done, but you literally go and get your whole body scanned with your fingerprints.
Cool.
They even check your
Todd should
penis.
just come with me at that
Yeah,
point.
Todd, you should do it
We
too.
should just do it together.
Because I pay for you also.
I've already got my fingerprints on file.
But you need to do that. Brian Zalewski. Greetings, Jared, Steven, and Becky. Todd.
Oh my God,
Best
hello.
wedding photographer ever.
Yep.
Tongue-in-cheek emoticon. By the way,
So it
did
does
that.
write it out.
no, it doesn't. So when it shows you the because I checked it, he did have the emoticon there, and it does when I copy it and paste it.
That's
it
what I'm saying.
does save it as
Yeah,
tongue-in-cheek
that's
emoticon.
funny.
You have answered similar questions before, but how do you get a client to tell you their budget? It always comes to where I am asked what my price is, but when I tell them my price, I get a look. Kind of like I am an alien or Marutu or something. But then, I made that up. But then they won't tell me where they would need to be to make it work. And these are clients that have sought me out because of my work. I am posting this due to a current bid that I am working on with a boat sales dealership, Boats and Hose. I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat. I'd like to make it work, but I need to know what they're working with. Show me what
Tell me, that's what I was thinking of.
Show me what you're working with.
Show me your budget.
So with something like this, is you have to know, one, what you are comfortable charging. Two,
Or comfortable.
it's okay to ask them. You ask them, so what is your budget? What are you looking to spend in? Is there a range that you'd like to be with?
What do you think my budget is?
Those are the first questions to ask. And if they say, we really don't know, then I need as much detail as possible before I can overshoot the budget. You say, look, here's what I'm thinking. And I'm not saying overshoot it, but you do it reasonably with what you think it should be. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room in case they come back and say, well, we need it to be a little less. But if they come to you and then they are like, well, we love your work, but you're too expensive. Well, what is a better price? Where do I need to be? That's a question I've asked for weddings before. It's like, look, I get it. You guys don't want to spend the $4,000. But what would make you happy?
Yes.
And I put the ball in their court. And then if they give you a number like 3,000, you're like, well, look, I can't go from 4,000 to 3,000.
I need 10,000
But
pictures.
if I meet you in the middle, would that make you happy? And then there they feel like they got something, and there they stretched a little bit to say 3,500. It's just one of those things. So that's my mentality going into it. Does that work for you, Todd?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to video stuff, I've had people tell me, oh, I don't know the budget. What do you think it's going to be? I said, well, without knowing everything about your project, it could be $3,000. It could be $300,000. So I could just pick a random number, but I'd rather give you something based on what you need So let's talk
What
about
you
what you
have.
need, and then I can figure it out
I'll
from
build it
there.
for you.
But if I kind of know what your number is, I can see if we can even make it work.
Adele Razier. I can't set fire to the rain. See me burn and back again.
I love how you started that one off.
I couldn't remember the name
Terrible.
of the song. Hey, Fro, Steven, and all the mighty and the almighty Todd. What do you think is
I
best
need
for
that sound effect.
What do you think is best for Instagram gallery? To have different genre mixed and try not to bore your following? Well, yeah, never bore your following. Or get specialized and post the same stuff genre over and over again. Because if
a good
likes
question,
are a
though.
good metric and you realize the same stuff is just not popular, or do you give up or continue even if it reaches less people but maybe different people? So
Still, it's a good question.
one part of the question is if
Is this
you
a life career goal? Instagram followers? Is that really a thing?
Well, for some people it is. The way that I look at it is if you know that certain photos do much better than others, then you focus on the photos that are doing much better than others. I know that some photos that I post get 300 or 400 likes where the others get close to 2,000. It just tells you that maybe I shouldn't be posting the things that people aren't resonating with because they just skip it in their feed.
Yeah.
So I would just focus on what works, what is working for you, and occasionally throw some other stuff in there and you see what happens.
I'd tell them to show more skin. That usually works on my photos.
You're not allowed. You just have to put
You gotta
things
cover
over the
up the
nipples.
The more skin I show in my shots, it seems the more followers I get.
Courtney Allen Case, quick biz question. Better to file for tax purposes as a DBA, doing business as, thanks for clarifying, or as an LLC? Quick off the topic question. Best album y'all are listening to right now? I don't know.
Best album.
Well, anyway, let me answer this question. So there's two different ways. I'm no lawyer and I'm no tax attorney, but a DBA is doing business as. That's your personal taxes. That's you personally, which means you are personally responsible if you get sued or somebody gets hurt personally. They can go after your personal things. If you are an LLC, you're a limited liability corporation. There's also the S corps. There's all those different other versions of LLCs. That is a business entity. It's separate from you personally. When I first started as a photographer, it was DBA, doing business as, because that's what it was. That is easier until you're making too much money or you can be really hurt because you have a lot of assets. So then you have your LLC because you have protection under a business. It's separate from you personally. That is that.
I feel like there's a monetary threshold. I don't know what that number is, but I feel like once you're making X amount, you've got X amount of assets and you've got X amount of write-offs and deductions, then at some point I think an LLC is handier in that regard.
Dalibor Barnfrjnd.
Yep, that's it.
Wait a second.
No.
BAUERNFRAJND. That's Bauerfrand. I should have said it first. It's Bauerfrand.
Of course.
Yep. I was just wondering what the shutter count is on your D4S and hashtag blame Stevens 5D Mark III. And if you guys ever worry about it, I won't ask Todd since he doesn't take pictures, but when he does, OMG.
Screw you, Bapper fan. my shutter count is at least 1,500.
That's what you took at the wedding?
Steven?
You asked me to come up with that number before I came here, so I plugged my camera in, and it's 90,690.
Wow.
Is my shutter
How long
count.
have you had that?
I've had that since it came out, so 2012, March of 2012. I'm curious what my 7D was, though, before, because I had that for 5 years.
Do we have any guesses about, I'm going to tell you when I got mine, under 2 years ago, of course, because that's when the D4S came out. Todd, do you have a guess of how many shutter actuations I have?
Yes.
Guess.
75,000.
Steven.
16,000.
Steven's closer. But everybody went over. Sam.
Over?
Yeah.
he's
I
not
just
a real
said everybody went over. and he
picked
said
a higher
16,000. All right, just sit in the chair
Sam
and
said
push the button,
24,000, by
Sam.
the way.
That's because Jared's not a real photographer. He doesn't even shoot anymore.
12,436.
Oh, I would have loved if Todd had more. He was like,
12,000.
800.
I wish I could. If I didn't know we were playing this game, guys. Thanks a lot.
We'll pop it up on the screen later. I'll tell you how to get it. So
I'll have no idea how to find that.
no, I'm going to show you. You just
No, I downloaded a program.
you don't
before.
need to download a program. There's a website. It's myshuttercount.com. I
Or
believe.
Nikon or Canon. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you just
Okay.
pop up a JPEG into it, and it tells you.
Oh.
So you have to take into consideration that when we're doing photo shoots outside of my own personal photo shoots, I'm testing out other gear and putting other actuations on other cameras that we use.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yes, no, 12,436 is 0. And that camera has not really seen the light of day for video anymore because we set up the D810 that I use for that. So it doesn't... When I sell this camera, when the D5 comes out, I'm going to have to guess and say by February that camera will be out. And I'm thinking estimates, if I'm to guess, is November when they'll announce it. Because that falls into line of the last 3 or 4 that they've done. Somebody is going to buy this camera from me and get basically a brand new camera.
D4S,
because
yeah.
I will be selling this camera the day that the D5 is 5D is announced. No, D5?
D5.
Yeah, the day the D5 is announced,
Still waiting
this
for the
camera is
5D
going to be
Mark
up for
IV.
sale. And as soon as that D5 is in my hands, somebody's buying this. And I will make it. It will be a good price.
And you have to keep in mind, too, for me, I was shooting for the radio station since this camera came out, and we were doing concerts 3-4 times a week. I was also doing the monthly block parties in the summer, which we would have 5 acts on. We did constant studio sessions. Every other day, a new artist came in, and I had to photograph that. We did headshots. I was constantly shooting on this. So, but it is still rated for 250,000, so I think I'm
Right.
still pretty good in regards of the shutter failing on me.
Mine's over 300,000, I think it can do.
Yeah, well, you have the Pro body.
And I also use the cameras totally different.
Yeah.
Nicholas Ryan Watts. So I was scheduled to photograph a wedding, but the bride and groom called the wedding off. It sounds like they are still getting married, but sometime further down the road. I have been planning on raising...
Dan didn't tell me?
No, Dan didn't tell you.
Damn it.
I've been planning on raising my rate. Oh, can I room with you when I go?
No!
Are you taking your wife?
Yes!
All right.
Don't talk to me when we're there either. Are you really going? Are you going to go?
Why wouldn't
Are you
I
going, Steven?
I wasn't invited.
Do you wanna
Thanks, Dan.
Do you want to be my date?
Awesome.
I was invited with a +1.
Sure. Why not?
Ew. That's what you want to sleep. You want to stay with Jared even more.
No, I'm going to go up and come back. It's in
Do I have to stay
Bethlehem
in
or
your room?
something. It's going to be over around 9 o'clock.
Wait, first of all, where's it at that you guys have to stay over?
I think it's Bethlehem.
Bethlehem.
Oh, okay.
It's not that far.
Yeah.
Hour and a half or so, but I plan on coming back. I don't plan on wasting money on a hotel room unless I get lucky.
Ooh.
Not with you.
With me?
Bridesmaids.
Are there? Oh my God! I've seen some of those.
There's
girls,
5 bridesmaids and there's 5 groomsmen. Me being one of them.
Oh, good. So I've got a chance.
So there's a chance.
Well, it depends which bridesmaids. I know. Anyway. Okay, I've been planning on raising my rates. What should I do if they ask me a year from now to shoot their wedding? Honor the rate I gave them before or give them the new current rate? What would you do?
Asshole tax.
What WWJD? What would Jared do? This is pretty simple. If they gave you a deposit, it's for that specific date that they first wanted.
Yes.
I let them know that either I can give them their deposit. They can give me a deposit to hold for their next time, but the rate isn't going to be the same at that point. You just flat out tell them, look, when you figure out what you're going to do, you could lock me in right now for this price for a date. But if you don't know the date, then that's it. And plus, they shouldn't get their. I'll hold on to your deposit because that's what it's for, and I'll put it towards your wedding if you come back and get me. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Dylan Tilley, the almighty Fro, Steven, the guy who can't focus, and Becky. I find a lot of people are coming to me in regards to getting maternity/newborn images done. Now, as I don't do jobs like that, I can't go for that. I'm focused around portraiture and weddings. Should I learn and practice
Shooting pregnant
practice
ladies.
that kind of imagery? I
Yes.
feel like I'm turning away more and more jobs that I should be. Would it be worth my while to teach myself another aspect of photography of these types? Dude.
You need to learn to shoot the pregos.
Basically, yes. You're getting all these job opportunities. Why would you not? If you already do portraits, now all you need to do is shoot a pregnant woman. Photograph a pregnant woman. She's already been shot once.
I have an amazing pregnant photography photo of my wife, and It's the worst. I don't even know if I could show you guys.
You took it?
Because a photographer took it of me and my wife with the belly,
It's so
and me
awkward.
like listening to the.
Let me
So
go.
weird.
Let me just say this. I'm gonna say this.
I hate those
I
shits.
hate those photos. I hate maternity
There's
photos.
no getting out of them though. When your wife is pregnant,
It's not good looking.
If the wife wants it,
she wants to
gotta get
capture
it.
this moment. Dude, there is so much stuff we have at my house. We have a paper mache.
Can we pop it up?
Cast
if I have the
belly
image.
cast?
Can we get that image?
No.
Yeah, that's a little private, so I don't want to put that up.
You talk about the
Yeah.
pregnant one?
Yeah.
My wife tells everybody I look like In Sync in that one.
You
Wait,
have
who?
the goatee,
Who from
don't you?
NSYNC?
You have the goatee.
Yeah. Huh?
You're like Lance Bass.
Lance Bass?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he looks like
There's
him
a
at all.
whole In Sync story.
Oh, no.
that isn't
That's
isn't good for public consumption.
Oh, man.
Oh, all right. Lance Bass hit on you?
No, somebody thought I was from In Sync when I was in Atlanta with a record label function at one time, and it went incredibly well and terrible at the same time.
Oh, we got to hear
this
about that. Can you say it or no?
Not on the air.
All
No.
right. We'll save that story for after.
I wanna
But the
hear that.
pregnant picture, let me ask my wife, but it's ridiculous.
I want to just see NSYNC because we could block out your wife and just show the NSYNC face.
She's not gonna. She probably won't care. She'll probably be happy somebody gets to look at it.
All right, on the internet. Oh, that's great. But look, if people are coming to you time and time again, how are you going to turn it down? Especially when you're looking for more jobs. Sometimes you do the jobs that you don't want to do to afford the jobs that you do want to
Yep.
do. Boom.
Yep.
Done.
Never turn down a damn dollar.
Well, sometimes.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, if the money's decent and it's an opportunity to get your, because here's what happens: you
Here it
shoot
goes.
that thing right there,
Family
but
portraits,
then guess what?
dog
the guy,
portraits, wedding photos.
the husband. Maybe he's the CEO of some Ferrari dealership. He's like, oh, my wife loved
Yeah.
your pictures.
It's a good opportunity.
Why don't you come take my pictures at my Ferraris? Because I'm telling you, any sensible husband listens to his wife. My wife said you were good. Why don't you come shoot pictures at my corporation?
Yes.
So that's how you got to get in with. You got to get in with people.
Yes,
That's
that's
all.
good because that expands your social network in reality. Because then they have kids to photo. Well, then the kid's born. Then they want baby portraits.
Yes.
Then they want the family photo taken. Then they want the dog photo taken. That's usually the dog sitting outside looking
And then
through
after
the glass.
the kids move away, they're like, "Yeah, do you mind coming taking some private pictures with me and my wife? We're swinging now."
Chuck Bandel, you woke up tomorrow and you are the executive chef at a world famous museum and you are also a photographer. But you really want to combine the two passions and to make something extraordinary and unique. What do you do, Chef Fro? So this is Chuck Bandel, man. We met him. I think he was at the RAWtalk in USF, University of South Florida. He
Okay.
works at the Dali Museum and he's a
Oh, yeah,
photographer
yeah.
and he's the
Yeah.
chef there. So something like this, how do you combine the two? Is food photography done easy, or just it could explode in two different facets? People love food today. There's that whole market has exploded. You get on video, you cook. You take photos of your stuff.
Cooking
it goes
with
together.
Jared.
Not only do you get the cooking people, but you get the photography people.
Best video ever.
Do you want to put a link to that?
I love cooking with Jared. It's in the editing guide, by the way.
Is it?
There's a whole discussion about editing with Jared.
Oh, that's great.
Dude, dude, there's
put
so
the chicken in.
there are so many flashbacks to old videos of his in the editing guide that it's shocking. And there's one where you guys cross the 180. Break the 180
For
rule,
RAWtalk?
shooting RAWtalk.
He wasn't-
And I was like, how?
Well,
how-
because I
how
fought
did
with
that
him about it.
happen? I'm asking you, how did that happen? Whose
Easy.
decision was that?
I told him we need to not break the 180 rule, and he said, the
I
180
knew
rule.
it.
That's
I knew it
exactly
as
what
I'm
he
watching
said.
it,
And I said, okay, we'll see how that pans out.
Because he talks about it in the guide, and I was like, oh, I want to see that. I'll put it right in here. He's talking about it, and I'm like, wait a minute, Steven's in this video. There's no way Steven would let that, because for everything that I say on this podcast about how terrible Steven is,
It's
he's
a
okay.
joke,
He's
by
okay.
the way.
He's okay. He's all right. He's okay. But
No,
I was like,
people
no,
take it seriously. It annoys me.
there's no way Steven's breaking the 180 rule. So I was like, I've got to hear the story as to how Jared put his foot down and was like, no, we're shooting over here on this side.
I remember we were in the car after that episode went live, and your friend, your video guy friend, not Todd,
Yeah.
texted you and was like, oh, he said we broke the 180 rule. And I'm like, exactly.
All
I
right,
knew
moving
people
on.
were going to bitch about it.
Oh, Anyways, it's the editing guide chock full of nuggets like that.
I need to watch that.
Sim Canas. Hi, Fro. Just wondering how Sam Green's doing. Recently rewatched the critique you did.
Who?
Of his work from the first year at Antonelli. And
Who are we talking about?
He seems like a promising lad.
Sam Green.
His name's Sam?
Sam, come talk
I thought that was Joe.
Sam, you get... are the cameras okay?
You assholes all look the same.
Right,
you stomp around the same, that's for sure.
All right, just walk around to Todd's mic and just tell real quick. You got a minute to tell people what you're doing.
Here's every camera shaking in the room right now.
Right here. Here.
What's the question?
Here, you're like my dog. Here. Come talk right here.
The question is, I recently rewatched... How's Sam Green doing?
I'm doing well.
Get up there.
Ooh, get up in
Hey,
there.
what's
All
up?
right, your clock is running.
I'm doing well. I graduated last year, 2014, from Antonelli.
Graduated or academically dismissed?
Graduated, actually.
I did the second.
Todd, you don't have a mic, so shut up.
And now primarily being a photo assistant in the Philly area, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
How's it going?
It's going well. We did, everything from small editorial stuff up to bigger productions. Like we did the Eagles cheerleader calendar in Mexico.
Hey,
that was pretty
there
cool.
for that.
It's actually a lot more sweat and dehydration than anything cool, but just everything is going well. And
where can people find more about you right now?
You could check out my website, which is samgreenphoto.com, or I'm the Sam Green on Instagram for a more daily update of what I'm up to.
Thank you. Sit down in your chair, please.
All right, now sit down quietly.
As he stomps on the floor. Bill Ferris.
Hold on.
For those listening, Todd is wiping off the microphone.
That's the one I licked. You're shooting a wedding and a close family member of either the bride or groom starts having a temper tantrum. What do you do?
Shoot him.
Shank him.
That is terrible when that happens. The bride or groom starts to have... You try to have a bridesmaid or somebody calm them down, or a family member try to calm them down, unless they're going off on me. If they're going off on me, we're gonna have a Mr. Big incident. We're gonna have it be like, "Excuse me, what'd you say?" Be like, dude, these. Oh, I've done. You know what? I think I've had to take some grooms off to the side and talk to them. Be like,
you better
look,
check that girl. You better check the shit out of her.
No. It's more them. Like
the grooms,
more the grooms,
where they don't want their photos being taken.
Oh, the guys,
and so they just look like a dick the whole time, and they just act all tough. And you're like, dude, look, you know that she wants these photos. My job is I was hired to shoot these photos. I need you to just act like you give a shit.
You're the coolest groom ever. You're the
10
first guy
minutes.
that's ever done that.
For 10 minutes, act like you want to get these photos because you're going to look back in 20 years if you're still married.
Be like, well, I look like a douche.
Be like, look, trust me, you're going to like these. You're going to want to hire me for your next wedding.
Michael Cassell, taking family portraits and the kids are not cooperating. They won't listen to me or their parents. Obviously, try to get some pictures, but if the session is a bust, do you offer a reshoot, a discount? How do you make a bad situation a positive experience for the clients? Well, no. Look, if they can't handle their damn little rugrat,
kids,
like you can't offer a discount.
Gaff tape.
You just got to come out and do it again. Sure, you could. Yeah, actually, maybe offer a discount for the second shoot because you already got paid for the first shoot. But hey, I got to come back out and do this again. There's another sitting fee. We got to make this work. You just that's what you have to do.
Mo money.
Now, Todd, have you ever had a time where your child has been so bad that you couldn't get a handle on her?
Mine? No. But I think my kids. All kids are different. I mean, temperaments are all different, and how you raise them are different. But I
really
think,
wish you could relay the story that I heard about your daughter from last year when she was in school.
I don't remember. Oh, you talking about the forging,
yes.
The pen the signature forging?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was the greatest story ever.
That's another episode.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Or should you just blame Steven and Taco Bell Becky?
Yes.
Always.
This is just one of those things if you need to get, I mean, I don't know how you calm a kid down. Especially if the parents can't do it.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of, if you've got, look, I'm taking Morgan to an audition today. She's obviously a little older, but if you know your child needs to do something, you got to make sure they're fed, they've slept well, they're prepared.
And they're not high up on sugar.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta. I mean, you know your kid better than anybody. You as a photographer, you're not gonna know. The only thing I could say to them is like maybe prep the parents and be like, hey, just want to let you know, is this a good time for them? You know, is this when they're most active and wide awake and friendly? This isn't a nap time or anything. You know what I mean? Like if you schedule a shoot right at nap time for this kid, he's gonna be a monster.
Do you know what I just thought of right now? Think of like Kindergarten Cop when it's the fire drill and Arnold is grabbing.
It's not in focus.
Who is your
it's
daddy
not in
and
focus.
what does he do?
It's not a tumor.
No, it's not in focus, Steven.
But imagine that. All I see is Todd doing a photo shoot with kids, being like, "Get over here!" and he's grabbing them and carrying. I would love to see that skit.
Oh, I've done shoots with my daughter before.
Billy Stuckman. I show up at a wedding to shoot video. The godmother that hired me didn't realize the bride had already hired a videographer and thought I was photo. The other video guy only had a Cine lenses and mine were Canon DSLR. I just switched gears and starting shooting photos even though I was not completely prepared. What would you have done? This is something I never expected to happen. Super weird.
Wait, so he was hired for video as well?
Yes, but here's what I would say.
Wait, was there no photographer?
Correct.
And 2 videos.
Oh man.
If the godmother, this is the precautions you have to take. If the godmother is hiring you, you need to say, I need to talk to the bride to make sure that we're on the same page. So then you talk to the bride because you can't rely on somebody else.
That's the boss right there. The bride is the boss.
If the bride is not hiring you, I don't care what the parents or mother or them say. Unless they're taking care of the entire thing, you need to be on the same page. That is photo news.
That's flying
solo. Flying solo.
That's flying solo.
So now it's time for Gear of the Week.
Gear of the Week.
Oh, good Lord. Let's speed this up.
We just got this.
Gear of the Week.
In Seattle.
This is the DxO1.
Oh, shit.
Steven, Sam, you want to get the wheel into place, please?
Yeah, I got to go here soon.
Todd's got to leave soon for picking up his daughter. With DxO1, this is the thing that plugs into your phone, your iOS device, and has a 20 megapixel sensor, lets you shoot RAW.
1-inch sensor, yeah.
That's a 1-inch sensor, which is not actually 1 inches, but it's larger than what's in your cell phone. It has a 1.8-inch lens. It does not zoom or anything, but I've started to use it.
1.8-inch lens?
No, f1.8. Okay. Sorry.
Does it have aperture priority?
It has aperture priority. It has
Does it go to
manual.
ISO 12,800?
So
does it go to 12,800 ISO?
I don't know what ISOs it goes to, but so far, just looking at the image quality on the phone when I save it to the micro SD card, they look solid, really solid images.
Really?
Compared to your normal iPhone
Compared to your
images.
normal iPhone when you zoom in.
Oh.
Now, there's also cons to the thing, which we'll get to when we do a real-world review of it, but just if we're talking image quality-wise, the image qualities look sharp and clean, and I could actually see that when you get an iPad Pro, plugging this in, having Lightroom Mobile, and editing the DNG files on it, that's what I actually could see. Now, you don't want to...
Will Lightroom Mobile open RAW images, though?
DNGs. I don't know. I have to look into it. These are DNGs.
That will shoot DNG. Okay.
It shoots DNGs.
Okay, I didn't know
that's what the raw files are.
Okay.
So this plugs into any iOS device that has a lightning adapter. You just don't want to be that guy using an iPad trying to hold this thing. It's not going to work too well.
Yeah.
So that is the Gear of the Week.
And that'll shoot RAW on the micro SD card and then JPEG on your
if
camera.
You want. I have it not putting anything to the camera.
You can customize
it. Anything to my phone because I can download images at any time that I want.
Cool.
If I want to plug it in and do that. But right now, anyway, the guy was really cool at DxO who gave it to us.
Very cool guy.
He snuck it into me.
It wasn't DeMarcus.
No, it wasn't DeMarcus, my favorite guy at DxO, now second favorite guy.
Actually, what was his name?
I forget his name. We'll check it out, but it was Jay. Wasn't it Jay?
It
may have not been Jay.
It was Bob.
He looked like Jeremy Roenick.
He did.
But the funny thing was we had a little discussion about why I don't have one of these in my hands yet. And they said they had internal discussions saying that they were afraid to give it to me because I
wonder why.
They know that I hate DxO Mark, their sensor rating system.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've always talked.
Yeah.
I always talk shit on it, but not on this.
Of them.
This is totally different. This is a new angle. I see the angle that I want to review it in, so that's what we'll do.
Cool.
Copy that.
So now it's time for Wheel of FRO. On the Wheel of FRO, we've got Black Rapid, Rode microphone, we've got Spin Again, and a black hole. Maybe one day we'll fill it. AdoramaPix.com. We got Fro Prize. We've got the Think Tank photo. You've got audioblocks.com/Fro/Go Lexar. We've got the
/go/fro, not /fro/go.
/go/fro. We've got the Hoya. Hoya, which we now the Adorama Pix is back open. I can get a circle made. Rode microphone, this week's sponsor. Question mark. Borrow lenses, Fro Prize, squarespace.com/fro, videoblocks.com/go/fro, Lexar. Shit. And a sneeze. I didn't do a girl sneeze. That's a real sneeze.
You let it all out.
So last week we spun it and it landed on Rode.
Yes.
And so we got to pick somebody to give that to.
Anybody that mentioned me in positive way.
I want to give that to. We'll give that to Dylan Mason.
What was his question again?
Dylon.
It
was Dylon.
The TSA agent one.
Okay, cool.
So he's going to get that. No, that does not fix his broken lens, but it gets him a microphone.
Cool.
So congratulations,
Hopefully he shoots video.
Dylan Mason. And we're going to spin the wheel right now, and I won't tell you who that's for right now.
Gotcha.
Are we ready? Come up with a new saying this week.
Like what?
Spin that wheel. That is how you spin the wheel. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. The Wheel of FRO is about to... it's not going to stop. It's just not going to stop.
Never. Ever.
That was one of my biggest spins ever. That is going to be the grand prize.
Your guns, man.
That's going to be the grand prize. That's not going to be the grand prize. Black Rapid! Congratulations to Chucky.
Chucky, the little killer? The
No,
baby
not
doll?
Chucky the doll. Chucky Bandle. He's the one who works at the Dolly Museum. You can now hang
Good guy.
one of your Ginsu knives from a Black Rapid. Congratulations. So for all the photo news, stories, and more, you can go to FroKnowsPhoto.com/RAWtalk-153.
Correct.
We are going to call it a day. Thank you to Rode for being this week's sponsor. Go to store.rode.com. Use the code FroKnowsPhoto until the 19th to get 50% off all of the things that we talked about earlier. Lexar is the official card of RAWtalk. We use those in each and every device here.
Yep.
Except for where the Atomos is.
Which is a hard drive.
We use that as a SSD. Yes, Todd, did you have anything to add?
No, I was pointing my camera because I got Lexar up in there.
Ballin'.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. You feeling it?
I know what you are saying.
Yeah, I'm
Doug.
saying.
I know what you are saying.
Pardon?
I like to whip. Nay, nay.
That's Beavis and Butthead you're doing. Sorry.
Yeah, Cornholio!
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
All right, guys. Sam Green, thank you for sitting over there. Hopefully you didn't screw up.
Thank you, Sam.
Joe's fired.
Don't ever put your lips on my microphone again either. I will punch you in the junk.
You realize we don't have any of these mics actually labeled. So this one could be yours from last week or Jared's.
This one does smell like...
smells like
I'll
an
tell you
afro.
offline.
All right, we got to hear about the InSync story after we cut from this, and that is where we're going to leave it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. FroKnowsPhoto.com. Wait, what do I say?
You just screwed up Jared
I
Poland.
screwed up my outro.
Oh my gosh.
Jared Poland, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.